In this tutorial, we're going to walk through how to use a logo template from Creative Market. We are at creativemarket.com. We're going to go to Templates, Logos. You can see that Creative Market has over 39,000 logos. That's a lot of logos. So this is where your mood board and knowing what you want your brand to look like comes in, so that you can search and find elements that are going to work for you. So if you do the filter here and add in some search terms, say mandalas were part of your style for your business logo, then you're going to come up with quite a few different options here to look at. If you click on the individual item, you're going to get more details. And this is where you want to kind of look at what's included in it. So this one has a variety of circles and other elements that you can pull together. You want to look at what kind of software is available for this packet. This one has Photoshop files, so you would need Photoshop to use this one. It also has Illustrator files. So you have Photoshop or Illustrator. You can buy this packet, open those up in Photoshop or Illustrator, and put the pieces together to make a logo. You can also use the filter to search for specific file types. So a .ai file is an Illustrator file, a .eps file is an Illustrator file, and a .psd is a Photoshop file. So you can see the specific ones. If you only have Photoshop, you want to grab that PSD. If you have Illustrator, the .ai or .eps. You can also search for less specific things like feminine, and find some girly logos. When you find one of the logos that you'd like to use, you can purchase it. The prices vary. Once your payment has gone through, it will download onto your desktop, usually in a zip file. You can double click that to open it. And then you can see inside the folder for the template that you bought all of the different pieces. So this one has the AI files, EPS files. It has a PDF that tells you about all the fonts used and where you can go get those. It has a PDF with all of the designs in it so that you can take a look at them. So you can see this one has the Photoshop files in there. So we are going to take a look at the Illustrator files. So we're just going to go ahead and open up this All Designs logo. When you're opening up template files like this, one of the first things that's going to happen is, especially if you're in Illustrator or Photoshop, the app is going to ask you for the fonts that are missing. You don't need to do that right away. You can just close that. You're going to have missing fonts if you don't have all these fonts installed on your computer. We're going to select the logo we want to use, copy, and we're going to make a new file. Just going to make a letter file, stick that in there. And if we go up to type and find font, we can see the list of fonts that are used in here. So there's Super Clarendon Light, Myriad Pro, and Wildera. And I already have those fonts on my computer. If I didn't, then I would go back to that PDF that was included in the file for this logo pack, and I would go and download the font that they used. So now we can adjust the information in here. We can put in our name. We can change the fonts if we want to, and we can start to colorize it. So this particular logo pack has individual logos already created, so you don't have to do hardly anything to them except change out the font and your name. The mandala pack that I showed earlier has pieces that you pull together. So you would pull together a couple different circles to create a custom mandala for your business, and then you would add in your name in the type that you choose. So we're going to just go ahead and click and drag around the name here and type in our Jenna Stewart. Then we're going to do a save. Make sure that you're saving as you go. Okay, so super quickly, we have a start on a logo. If we select and copy and paste, we can get another version of this going that we can play with. Since we had specific fonts for Jenna that we were using before, let's go put those in here and see how that changes it up. We were using Roboto. Can change up the font size. Starts to make it a very bolder look. You can just type in. Let's do a Roboto Light there. And then these I actually want to have those up on the same line. So you can just delete that extra, whoops. You have to ungroup it first. You can delete that extra piece. And let's go ahead and change this up to our Roboto Light. And then pull that up underneath there a little bit. Any of the elements that you want to adjust, then you may need to ungroup. So this one is grouped together. We can do an ungroup on that. As the first few steps, you really want to just play around with using different fonts and adjusting different aspects of those fonts in the logo and see what you come up with. You want to have quite a few different variations in just black and white so you can see what they look like at their most simplest. You want to kind of zoom in and zoom out, make it real tiny and see how readable it is when it's small. You may need to adjust the sizing or boldness of the fonts to make them more readable at a smaller size. When you're ready to add in some color and play around with some of your color palettes that you've chosen, you can do so. Click on the element that you want to color. Double click over here on your color palette. And this is where you're going to have the option to add in those hex codes. Hit return. Then once you have that hex code in there, you have this swatch here. You can click and drag and pull that swatch down and you'll be able to use it again. If you want to. So I know we had another kind of gray color we were using. And black. And then these dots are individual dots. So if you wanted to do something crazy, like do every other one, you just have to zoom in there so that you can select those individual dots and add the colors in. So you can start to add those colors in, see how that feels with your logo. When you're ready to save out your file for a final use, so you want to go ahead and save it as a .ai file. But you can also save it out as a .eps file. That's a file then that you can place in layout apps like InDesign and Word and Pages. And the EPS file is a file that you can send off to somebody who's making signage for your business, for instance. It's the file that you would use if you were making a business card, that kind of stuff. You can also do a file export and save for web. Then you can choose JPEG and PNG so that you get the formats that you need to add it to your website. That was a quick tutorial on how to grab a template from Creative Market, open it up in Illustrator, and customize it and save it out.